people. Today we'll be talking about the rights of tenants in Nigeria. In Nigeria, we would say that the tenancy law varies from state to state. But when it comes to the rights of tenants, the rights of tenants is the same all over the country. As a tenant or as a citizen, do you know your rights? A lot of landlords have become overlords, and this is the reason why so many tenants are victims. The tenants have helped these landlords in their quest to be overlords because they do not know their rights and how to enforce them. And that is the reason why you need a lawyer. Today we'll be looking step by step at your rights as a tenant, particularly when you choose to move out from your previous place of residence to a new place. The tenancy law doesn't only cover moving from apartments to the other, it also covers lease. When you want to rent a landed property, either for farming, for building purpose, for business, or residency, all these are covered in the tenancy law. Now we'll look at this law step by step. The first part, or the first one we'll be looking at, is the right to exclusive possession. When you talk of exclusive possession, it poses that the very moment a landlord has received money, which is consideration for a property or a land, that means that that landlord has relinquished possession temporarily for the period of the duration of the tenancy. It does not mean that the landlord is relinquishing his ownership, but it means that he has simply relinquished possession temporarily until that tenancy is terminated. So for the period of that tenancy, he ceases to have an ultimate right over that particular property or possession. So the tenant who has furnished consideration, that is, who has paid money, now becomes the one in possession of that particular property. So we would see that a lot of landlords take advantage of this. They disturb tenants even after they have received rents, and most of them do not notify the tenants when they want to come in for inspection or visits. In fact, the very moment you have received money from a tenant, that very moment you have to respect the right of that tenant. You must notify the tenant even before you visit, and the tenant has to give his consent, his or her consent. If the tenant doesn't consent, then as a landlord you do not have a right to infringe or to move in or to disturb that tenant. That is one right you should know as a tenant. The second right is the right to agreement. So many people do not understand or appreciate the beauty of this particular right. It is in the tenancy agreement you would see certain do's and don'ts in that apartment you're moving into. You'll find out that in some compounds you might be told that, okay, at so and so time, every tenant must be in the house. It is in the tenancy agreement you will be told that, okay, we do not let our houses to people who are bachelors or who are married or who run certain professions. There are reasons. It is in the agreement you would see your conduct, interaction with various members or various tenants in that same property. So that is the beauty of signing agreements. And as a citizen or as a person, you really need to read and digest the contents of those agreements before you sign them. A lot of people do not read these agreements. They are in a hurry to move in. So as such, they make a lot of mistakes. They sign. They do not check the clause to see if they agree with the terms and conditions stipulated in that agreement. So some of them just, let me sign and get in. I just want to move in. And in doing that, you actually need the services of a lawyer to interpret those clauses. What you do not understand in those agreements, you need a lawyer to interpret it in the language you would understand before you sign. Never ever sign an agreement without fully digesting and understanding what is written in the contents of the agreement. The third point, which is also very, very important, is the receipts. You must make sure you collect your receipts of payment after you have rented a property or leased out a property. So many landlords are also very dubious, and a lot of tenants fall victims to some of these dubious landlords by not collecting receipts. Because when you collect this receipt, it will serve as evidence that you actually paid for this particular apartment or this particular property or that particular land. So your receipt, your rent receipt, is very important. And it is very, very notable that on payment, you do not go alone. You go with either your lawyer or with a witness, an adult witness, who will be there to witness the payment. And that receipt should be collected that very day. Do not wait to say, oh, next week I'll collect it. Oh, no, next. No. You collect it immediately payment has been made. So these are the rights you should know as a Nigerian citizen and also as a tenant. So I believe that with all these points, you would make sure you know and digest your rights, and do not hesitate to enforce them by consulting a lawyer. It is only a lawyer that can enforce these rights. Thank you very much.